Lies, cheating, and blackmail. I feel like today's episode's headlines are straight out of a game of the traitors. Blake Lively was spotted working at a donut shop in Connecticut. Prince Harry was forced out of his charity for discrimination. And what in the RFK Jr. is going on? And why are Candace Owens and House Inhabit continuing to fight? The feud has just gone nuclear. It's wild. Let's get into it. Okay. You're listening to No Filter with Zack Peter, your go-to source for all the latest pop culture and reality TV tea, served fresh all week long. Now, let's dive in. Whew. And dive in we shall, guys. This has been crazy. What a weekend. What a way to start off the week. The Prince Harry of it all, Meghan Markle, she has her new As Ever line that's coming out, but Blake Lively, amid all of this Justin Baldoni legal drama saga. Oh man, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively. I don't even know what to say at this point because I mean nothing you do really surprises me. But then we also have I know last week we ended with the Candace Owens versus Jessica Reed Krause House Inhabit feud that was like picking up, and it looked like we had the mommy sleuths going after each other on Instagram, and then it just went completely nuclear. And now there's this big blackmail scandal and a cheating scandal, and I'm just like, what happened? Like what? Like, how many coconut trees are dropping people left and right? Because everybody's going a little wackadoodle. So I don't even know. Do you want to begin with Prince Harry and Meghan, like the royal refugees? Do we want to begin with Blake Lively, RFK, Candace versus Jessica Reed Krause? I'll let you guys decide what we should start with today because there's a lot to get into. Maybe we can start with Blake. We haven't had much of a Blake update. I'm hoping that the judge gives us an answer soon. Oh my God, the blackmail rabbit hole is mind-numbing. I know. Well, there are so many different pieces to that. Some people are saying Blake or Candace, Blake or Candace, Blake, Candace, Blake, Candace, Blake, Candace. Okay, well, I love what you post on your stories with Jenny McCarthy. Thank you. I mean, Jenny and I go way back. I mean, I've known Jenny. It's been 15 years. I think I met her when I was like 16, 17. I'll be 32 this year. So yeah, about 15 years. Wow, how time has flied. How time has flown. Oh my God, is anyone else stuck on White Lotus? It's amazing. Okay, was White Lotus good? I don't even know what's going on with White Lotus these days. But yeah. I love Jenny. I love Jenny too. Well, we'll get into the Jenny, and I'll share that video that she or the clip that you're referencing that I posted on my Instagram stories because that is relevant to today's headlines, especially when it comes to Blake Lively and when it comes to the Candace Owens House Inhabit stuff. I guess let's just start with I haven't seen the new season of White Lotus, so I can't speak to that. I know it was like a really slow burn, and then there was Patrick Schwarzenegger, and then he had like the kissing scene, and I guess they're like doing things to each other, the brothers, and I'm like, what is going on? So I'm not entirely fully caught up on everything, but yeah. Okay, let's start with Blake Lively because there was a new. I haven't watched the last episode. No spoilers. Yeah, we won't do spoilers. I can't spoil anything for you. I haven't even seen it. I just know that at one point the brothers make out, and then the brothers apparently I'm hearing do other things, and Patrick Schwarzenegger was just like, "Oh yeah, this season was so crazy," and he like I guess people said he almost threw up when he had to do the kissing scene because it's like, oh, his brother, which was weird. Oh my goodness, yeah, everyone's like the brother's weird. Yes, Shelby in the live chat has clarified what they were doing. Wait, was it to each other or just like next to each other and like watching each other? Like I'm actually kind of curious. Zack, do we have a timeline of when the judge will? Okay, so we don't have an update on when the judge is going to decide on Blake, Ryan, and the New York Times. Well, actually, all of them. All of the motions to dismiss have yet to have been brought before the judge. I mean, he can really take his time with this if he wants to. I'm sure he has to review all the documents and weigh everything out, and then he'll make a decision. I'm not sure when the next hearing is. I'm hoping the next hearing is publicly accessible. We don't have an answer on that yet, but we'll have to wait and see. But Blake Lively seems to be doing okay. She was just spotted out in Connecticut, and she's, I guess, living her best life. So She was spotted at, let's see, this place is called Rise Donuts in Connecticut. And so she was just out there. She was posting on her Instagram stories, and then a number of other people were posting videos of her as well. And so people reported that she happens to know the, I guess, owner of Rise Donuts in Connecticut. And I don't know what the point of this was necessarily. It was some sort of like PR stunts that people can come in and I don't know, just see that she's like cool and wholesome. Is she like hiding out in Connecticut? I know Connecticut is where they filmed Another Simple Favor. Are they doing promos for Another Simple Favor? Is this meant to be a promo for Another Simple Favor to like soften her image a bit before the film comes out? I'm not really sure. And where's the Anna Kendrick of it all? Blake is Blaking. That she's doing. Cover the hair. What about her? Well, I mean, everybody knows her hair's not very good. Like the hair is just like kind of crispy, right? It's a little fried. They left her out in the sun a little too long. It's like the Barbie doll that you leave outside, after a few years. So yeah, she needs a hairnet. Oh, that's what people are bitching about? That she doesn't have a hairnet on as she's baking donuts? Well, neither does the owner. You can see the owner in the back of the photo that was posted. Well, here's a video too from the actual donut shop. I guess somebody one of the fans that was there posted this on TikTok. So here's a clip of Blake working at the donut shop. So there you go. She's there. She's serving donuts. She's like, "Look at, I'm baking," and then she's like, "Baking with my friend." And this giant what are the mixers? She said it was like a car-sized mixer. I mean, listen, it's clearly a publicity stunt. I think they're really just trying to soften her image and like make her look a little more approachable. Here's another here's what she posted on her stories directly. It says baking with genius food friends and their kitchen mixer the size of a car. This is what my happy place looks like. So she's really trying to seem like I'm unbothered. I don't care that you guys hate me. I don't care that you guys have an issue with me or that you think I'm a liar. I'm living my best life with my kids and I'm at a bakery and we're making donuts and everything's so cool and I'm a cool girl, right? I'm totally cool, calm, and collected. I'm not stressed out about this lawsuit at all, even though I'm supposed to be traumatized. And people are like, well, she can still work. Well, I mean, if this is her working, it seems like yeah, it's definitely PR. It seems like they thought that this would be a good, wholesome opportunity to get some press around her that would, be something kind of lighthearted and fun rather than something that's like heavy legal. They want to make her look like, oh my God, I'm such a cool, down to earth, relatable girl. I didn't even brush my hair today, and I'm out here serving you donuts. Let's get it. So good for her. I mean, I don't really know. Do we care? Like, are we falling prey to these PR gimmicks? It just seems to me like they're trying too hard to soften her image. This is not a charity. What the hell? No, it's not even a charity event, to my understanding. It was just I guess, when that's what makes it even look more PRE, right? At least do some sort of charity campaign, some sort of charity event, some sort of, let's raise proceeds. All the we'll donate $1 of every donut sold today. We would do stuff like that back at Jenny's Foundation. We'll get into Jenny's Foundation and what she reveals on Maria Menounos' podcast and the smear campaign of it all, because I thought that was a really interesting conversation. We'll get into that in just a sec. But yeah, Blake seems to be doing her damn thing, living her best life. And I'm like, okay, girl, you do you. Good for you. Uh yeah. I mean, I guess while we're on the topic of charity campaigns, I mean, we can actually try to do something good despite all the drama surrounding this legal saga. But just a reminder, everybody, we are coming down to the final days to order your limited edition merch. Dun dun dun. So we have Daddy Sleuth, Mommy Sleuth, Justice for Justin, Zack Pack t-shirts, hoodies, and the Zactivated tank. Like I said, 50% of all proceeds from merch sales between now and April 11th. I will be donating 50% of my merch sales to the No More Foundation, which is the organization Justin Baldoni wanted to partner with for It Ends With Us. I believe they did partner, and I believe 1% of all money that comes in for It Ends With Us, that will be going to this No More Foundation. I will also be donating to the No More Foundation. This is not a campaign that I'm doing with them. This is my own independent campaign that I just wanted to run to bring some awareness and to hopefully try to put an end to DV and SV, because I feel like we're here, we're talking about it. Why not try to do something good with it? So we have Justice for Justin shirts. You can also get a Mommy Sleuth shirt if you want to clap back at Stephanie McNeil and Glamour Magazine for calling us Mommy Sleuths. Here you go. You can get a Mommy Sleuth tee. Or if you want to do Daddy Sleuth, we can do that. We're actually very close to reaching our goal. So please go and place an order. NoFilterMerch.com, NoFilterMerch.com. You can go right now. Anything you order from the merch site here, Daddy Sleuth, Mommy Sleuth, Justice for Justin, Zack Pack, Zacktivated, anything, any of these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, any of these 6 items, 50% of all sales. 50% of my proceeds from sales now until April 11th. You can definitely go place your order. Get it. All right, just a reminder so that everybody remembers to go get your merch. The link's in the description below. Go. I'll post the link here in the live chat for everybody watching live on YouTube as well. That way you can order. Please send me photos. Tag me. Justice for Justin. Yes, Justice for Justin. Let's get it. Okay. Cute shirts. Thank you. Just wanted to remind everybody about that. Go and get your shirts. Yay. Marcus ordered Justice for Justin. Yay. Let's raise some money. Hair is literally almost touching the donuts. Yeah. I guess, when you look at it's not, but she doesn't normally work at a donut shop, so she doesn't really know what she's doing. And come on, you really expect her to put a hairnet on? You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Oh, that's her sister in the background. That's not the owner of the shop. So who owns the shop? People just reported that she knows the owner of the shop. So good for her. Zack, don't miss her sister in the background. Oh yeah, so this is her sister with the curly hair. Got it. As a DV survivor, I think it's such a great thing for you to do. Thank you. I just figured, why not? Why not do something good while we're all talking about this? Got it. That's her sister in the back. Okay. Well, on that note, let's move on. Well, I guess let's talk about Jenny. And so there's a reason I know I'm very savvy to these PR tactics and these games, these smear campaigns. This is why when Blake Lively accused Justin Baldoni of a smear campaign, to me, it was more obvious that her team was the one launching the smear campaign against Baldoni, right? Because it was a very easy way to take a shot at him. And so I know at the beginning, I was one of the unpopular people who was saying, oh my God, I think that this is a smear campaign against Justin and the smear campaign is not against Blake. And people obviously didn't like that. And, Donna and I have talked about how at the beginning, we didn't get along. And I remember at first being like, Donna, let's talk about this. We cannot talk about it. We're not on the same page. We're we would fight. I was like, let's go on one of our shows and let's break it down. And she'd be like, no, not at all. Not at all. Andrea says, Zack, what is going on today? Scandal, affair, forced out. So excited about today's show. We're going to get to the scandal and the affair and the forced out. But right now we're on the donuts and the smear campaign. So here's a clip of what Jenny said when she was on Maria Menounos' podcast, which is so funny because for less than 2 years, maybe a little more than a year and a half, I was with this online digital network called AfterBuzz TV. And they mainly streamed TV after show recaps. Yeah. TV recaps, after shows. Yeah. On YouTube. And so I did Vanderpump Rules recaps, Real Housewives of New York recaps. I did a ton of Empire, Gotham. I did a whole bunch of different recap shows for AfterBuzz in that short year and a half that I was there. I wasn't there for a full year. So I want to say maybe 18 months. I don't know. It was about a year and a half. And so yeah, and that was Maria Menounos' network. I never really got to meet her. She wasn't too hands-on at AfterBuzz, and AfterBuzz was a little bit of a shit show when I was there. I know they were trying to clean it up, and then I think it's gone altogether now. However, that said, Jenny McCarthy, who I've known and am very good friends with to this day, her and her husband Donnie, she was just on Maria's podcast, and this is what she said, and I want to get into it. Okay, so here I'm going to play a clip from Maria Menounos' podcast with Jenny.
Had someone come to my organization, Generation Rescue, and say to me, listen, I was approached by a government agency to be hired. And what I do is I set up PR campaigns to go against the narrative. and it's going to be called You're Anti-Vaccine, that they're going to come after you and hard. And I said, well, how are they going to do that when I've clearly said in every interview I'm not anti-vaccine? Like, I'm just telling the story of my child, of what happened and how I'm getting him better. And they said, doesn't matter. They're going to come after you with everything they've got, and they've the media on their side. And I didn't believe them. I was like, there's no way, because I preface it in my book. I've prefaced it everywhere. You know,
you didn't even get scared.
I didn't get scared.
I would have a heart attack.
It didn't really hurt me until it started taking jobs away from me, because I was a single mother still trying to heal my son, pay for speech therapy, ABA.
So that's just a clip from Jenny's interview on Maria's show. And it's so funny because I remember this happening. So my background, like I told you guys, my background is in celebrity nonprofit fundraising. And I've shared a number of different stories from that part of my life on the podcast over the last almost 10 years now. Next month will be, oh my God, yeah, April is 10 years of No Filter, April 22nd, I believe. But so I formerly was the executive director. I started as a volunteer / intern when I was like 16, 17. And then by the time I was 25, I ended as the foundation's executive director. And I remember that whole thing about somebody coming in and warning Jenny. And listen, one thing about Jenny is, and she's always said she's got big balls and she was very brazen, but it was very frustrating for me at that time to watch how the media branded her, because a lot of people think of her as, oh, she's an anti-vaxxer. It doesn't believe in vaccines. But it's funny because I remember we would literally go through all of the interviews and things that she would do, and we would have to put together like clips to show all the things that all the times that she would disclose that she's not anti-vaccine. She believes in the importance of vaccines and all these things, but she's just like, why can't I share the story of what happened with my son? And for people that aren't familiar, and I don't think enough people actually care to get to know her story, her son went into cardiac arrest. Like, it was a very traumatic experience. Anybody that's read her book or knows her story, like any mom with a platform, I would think would do the same thing that she did. Like, holy crap, something happened to my son. And now suddenly my son has been diagnosed with autism. And it's just that, like, I have questions. As a mother, I'm concerned. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist, but as a mother, I'm concerned. And then she had a number of doctors and scientists that came out and supported her and backed her. And, I remember they went on The Doctors. Is that the one with Travis Stark? Is that his name? I remember they went on, it was The Doctors. They went on Dr. Oz. Like, they did a number of like those mainstream shows. Oprah was a big supporter of Jenny at the time. But then after she started coming out, she went on Larry King Live. That was a really great episode. A lot of those clips are now starting to resurface. And this was like 15 years ago, right? Like, let's see, when that had to have been 2005, 2006. So more than 15 years ago. Wow. At this point, it's like probably going on 20 years. Yeah. Cause Evan and my brother Ethan are both 22 now, 21, 22. So yeah, because they're about the same age, a lot of shared the same. Jenny's son, my brother's doctor, very much the same functional medicine doctor. They used to be called Dan doctors, biomedical doctors back in the day, back when like Jenny was called crazy for saying, oh my God, I removed gluten from my son's diet and it helped him a lot. Only to find out he had gut issues and take probiotics. At that time, 20 years ago, probiotics, people don't realize probiotics were quackery. Probiotics were snake oil bullshit. And like then the probiotics were like high quality because they were doctor, line supplements. Whereas now, like probiotics, you get like probiotic gummies at Target. It's so mainstream now. Gluten-free is so mainstream now. Gluten-free bread you can get at almost any restaurant, like here in LA. You can get gluten-free options like pretty much anywhere now. Like, it's very rare that, not eating gluten is just, it's a common thing. But again, at that time when the media was branding her crazy quackery, like that's what they were referring to is probiotics and removing sugar and, using non-toxic paint instead of paint with lead because of the off-gassing. Like, there are just so many things that eventually, like Jessica Alba, Kate Hudson, they all, years and years later came out with like how to have non-toxic living in your house. Like, Jenny was at the forefront of that, but she wasn't allowed to say any of those things because she went against a big mainstream establishment, and there was a deliberate smear campaign against her. And this is before I really understood how smear campaigns worked. And so this is why that was 15, 20 years ago that happened. So I've seen this playbook. I've seen these games play out a number of different times over the years, which is why it's so interesting to now see this Candace Owens versus House Inhabit beef unfolding and unplaying. And I'm so torn and conflicted because I just it's taken so many twists and turns. So to recap, Candace Owens was beefing with this woman, Jessica Reed Krause. And Jessica Reed Krause has a really popular Substack, newsletter, and Instagram account called House Inhabit. And Jessica Reed Krause was a big supporter of RFK Jr. And again, the same way I'm sure the second you think of Jenny McCarthy, you immediately think of anti-vaccine. And I'm now explaining to you, and I'm so glad Jenny has finally come out with this side of her story, because I've known this for many, many years. And, I've known that what they did to her, and we saw it play out in real time. And that's the reason people were conditioned to believe that she was anti-vaccine and she wanted to eradicate all the shots, which was absolutely not true, completely false. That's never what she said. It was a complete misrepresentation, but they would take things that she would say, clip them out of same thing we're seeing with Justin Baldoni's toxic positivity. The only thing is now we have the internet, and now we have people that are willing to challenge the mainstream media. This was not a thing 20 years ago. It wasn't. So again, I tell you to question everything that you've been conditioned to believe, because when it came to Jenny specifically, she never claimed to cure autism, and she was never anti-vaccine. And if you go back and actually watch her interviews in their full context, I think you'll feel very differently about her, because there's a side of her that I've known now for over 15 years that to me is just I'm so glad that we're now at least in a different cultural environment where we don't just blindly believe what we're being peddled, because we've now seen that we've been lied to so many times. So that's why when I spotted the Justin Baldoni, Blake Lively smear campaign bullshit very early on. I saw that the smear campaign was against her. When you look at things very objectively, you can see how, the power of the legal system can be weaponized the same way we're seeing Blake Lively and her PR team and the New York Times. Like, it seems, that's just the allegation. We don't know this for a fact. We'll see this play out with discovery and if we get to trial. But it does appear that there was some sort of colluded effort to put this information out there to make Justin Baldoni look bad, So now when it comes to she did tons of shows dissing that, that's actually not true. It's not true. And people didn't really watch those full interviews, and a lot of them you can't even find anymore. But I can tell you, I was there during that time. I can confidently tell you what her position was and what she said about them. And it's crazy. Jenny did an irresponsible PR campaign. See, that's the thing. And this is what people believe, This is what people believe, They think that that's really what she was about or what her mission was, because that's what you were constantly told. And then you were constantly shown clips that were taken out of context. All she really did was say, hey, this happened to my son. And not only did it happen to my son, but these are all the other families that have the same story. If we have questions, why aren't we allowed to have questions? But again, very similar as to what we saw in 2020 and 2021, the science was settled, right? Which anybody that knows anything about science knows that science is never settled. Science is always meant to be poked and questioned. That's the whole point. It's theory and hypothesis. Math is final. Math is finite, right? 2 plus 2 is always going to equal 4. 1 plus 1 is always going to equal 2. Math is very, cut and dry. It's fact. It's to the point. There's not really a case where 1 plus 1 is not going to equal 2. It's just not going to happen. I mean, you can add division and multiplication and all of those things and all those other factors, but 1 plus 1 is always going to equal 2. With science, it's meant to be questioned. It's meant to be poked. It's meant to be experimented on, because it's all theory and hypothesis. At one point we were sold science that told us that tobacco was good for us. That smoking was healthy for us. And as we grow and evolve and poke and challenge things, we learn and we grow and we create better science and we create better data that's more beneficial to help us. So yeah. But when it comes, so now let's connect it back to what's going on with House Inhabit and Candace Owens, because that's it's crazy. Like I've always been very clear and transparent. I don't fully agree or disagree with either of them. There are things that I agree with Candace Owens. There are things that I agree with Jessica Reed Krause. But so last week, they got into this beef because House Inhabit published this newsletter that took a shot at Candace Owens. I believe Tucker Carlson and Megyn Kelly were also a target in that newsletter as well. And to my understanding, the sentiment of the newsletter wasn't necessarily so much to bash them, but it was to kind of throw a little shade at them. It took a shot at them for floundering, is I think the word that she used. They're floundering from politics and now leaning into pop culture because, they seem to get more eyeballs. They seem to get more ad rev. They seem to generate more money or generate more attention from covering pop culture versus politics. And so she kind of alluded to that's why Candace Owens took her dip over. Candace, obviously, when you call her, she's going to come out swinging, as she did. The second she started coming out swinging and poking at Jessica Reed Krause, being like, I was told that somebody on your team was even trying to write a hit piece on me, which is absolutely not true. And so Jessica Reed Krause, this is where she really fumbled the ball last week, is she then took the one shot at Candace that was going to hit her the hardest. And Jessica was like, I can't answer any of this right now because I'm at the White House. And she got her pass to become, part of the press for the press briefings at the White House. And Jessica was like, I'm getting a tour and blah, blah, blah. And she's like, I'm at the White House. And Candace is just jealous because she's not at the White House because she's been blocked by the White House. And I was like, ooh, saying that you have access to something of stature that Candace doesn't have because you're saying she's blocked. It's the perfect storm to trigger. You hit that right button that's just going to get Candace because it hits her where it hurts and it hits her in the ego. And Candace, of course, came guns blazing at Jessica Reed Krause and then suddenly tied Jessica Reed Krause to this woman, Olivia Nuzzi. Is it Nuzzi or Newsy? Olivia. I'm not entirely sure if it's pronounced Nuzzy or Newsy. I'm going to say Newsy. So Olivia Newsy, she's a reporter. And so why is she important in all of this? So Olivia Newsy was previously a few months ago linked to Robert F. Kennedy Jr. And she came out and it was this big, it was covered all over Page 6 and it was going all over the internet that they had some sort of rumored affair. Robert F. Kennedy Jr. they have been rumors for years that he's not the most faithful. I think he's been accused of being like a sex addict in the press. He's married to Cheryl Hines, actress Cheryl Hines, married to her. I've known, Kennedy for a very long time. I've met Cheryl. I've been in their home. Cheryl is very lovely. It does get challenging when I have to talk about people that I know or people that I have a lot of respect for, but this is the story. We follow the story. People kind of know who I am and what I do. And it is what it is. So we're talking about it. But so there were these affair rumors that were going around in the press at the time about Olivia Newsy and Kennedy, RFK Jr. And they had some sort of, it was, I believe, a texting affair is what they were labeling it at the time. And he denied it. Okay. Bill Clinton, I did not have affairs with that woman. He denied it. Got it. Fast forward, story dies down. Trump becomes president, takes inauguration. Kennedy becomes Secretary of Health and Human Services. Well, now Candace Owens is saying that there's this big blackmail scandal that's going on right now with Kennedy. And so she seems to be alluding to the fact that the Olivia Newsy rumors the affair was actually real and that it was true. There's this guy, Ian Carroll. I believe he was a comedian. He has a very prominent following on Instagram. He was talking about this over the weekend as well, about how there is this big blackmail scandal that's going on right now. And Ian and Candace have their own theory as to where they think that is stemming from. I know other people that have other theories as to where this alleged blackmail is stemming from. However, where it's coming from, I don't think we really know. There's a lot of speculation about this rumored blackmail scandal. And so apparently, I don't know where it's originating from. I just want to say that. But apparently, there are these videos of Kennedy essentially cheating on his wife. That have been going around, that have been shopped around. And apparently nobody in the press is jumping on these because they were recorded in a two-party consent state. And obviously they appear to be secretly recorded. I'm not entirely sure if these are videos with Olivia Newsy or who the other person is in these videos. I haven't gotten clear confirmation on that, but there is explicit material that is allegedly being held over his head. Now, like I said, Candace and Ian have their own theories. I don't know if I've been necessarily sold on their theory. I'll let you watch their content for that. I've heard other people have other theories. Listen, it's very convoluted and very messy. But so that's basically Candace is saying that he's being blackmailed into doing certain things and endorsing certain people um, because there are these alleged videos that are being held above his head. And the only reason they have yet to be published is because of that legality that they were recorded in a two-party state, which means if he did not consent to those videos being filmed, they can't really be released because it would be obtained illegally. And of course, nobody wants to get in the mess of that legality. Let's see. Ooh, PB became a member, PB0707. Thank you, PB. Traveler landed, said Zack. I'm one of your senior listeners. I'm 57, and I remember clearly how Jenny scared the crap out of families. Her narrative was not responsible. Context is key. I agree. Context. Listen, I was there for all of that. I know all of the families. And I will tell you, it didn't scare them as much as it empowered a lot more families. So you and I can disagree on how we remember that. I was on the inside of it. I also know the deep, strong tactics people went to make sure that the impression that was given. I mean, because here's the thing: if you watch Jenny's Oprah interview, or you watched the Larry King Live interview, or you watched the doctors, or you watched, a number of interviews that she gave at that time, I don't think you would watch that interview and leave with parents were scared. Like that's very much a narrative that the media was putting out, that Jenny McCarthy is scaring people when Jenny's always said, I'm not a doctor. Don't listen to me. I'm just saying this happens. So have conversations with your doctor. Her conversation was always about having an open dialogue and sharing your concerns with your doctor so that you feel confident and comfortable and informed. It was always about making sure you're making decisions when it comes to your family that are from a place of empowerment and in place of knowing what you're doing. And if you feel confident and comfortable and your doctor can reassure you in that way, then absolutely do that. But here are some questions that you should probably ask, but by no means, and she has said that a number of times, by no means listen to me. She says, don't listen to me. I'm not an expert. I'm just a mom. This was my experience. Here are a number of hundreds of thousands of other families that also have very similar stories. We have concerns, we have questions, and they were dismissed. And again, Jenny lost jobs, and I watched all of that play out. Amy says, thank you, Amy, for the super chat, says, how can we as a society not question everything we have been informed from the media now that we see that we have been manipulated for years? Great point. We're now seeing that entire world crumble. And that's what I'm telling you. We're not just like smear campaigns didn't just happen in 2024 with Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni. Big, powerful PR houses and agencies with money, like they've done this shit for years. They've influenced us for years. And the influence that they've done was not always genuine. But again, you couldn't fight back at that point. You just couldn't, you know? Yeah. Yeah. PB says, there's a injury government page, yep, regarding injuries, but we are not allowed to talk about it out loud. Exactly. I mean, and let's not even get into the data from just recent years with, you know, following Operation Warp Speed. When you look at that data, and again, the data is publicly accessible, but why aren't we talking about it? Makes you question, right? Okay. So yeah, that's the Judy says, I was raised to question everything, to do my own research, use my own mind. I pray my son does the same. Always stay informed. It's not that hard, you know? I thought it was really dangerous when, like, 2020, 2021, that era, when it was like, how dare you question the science? How dare you, the scientists know everything? And it's like, really? Well, if the experts really knew everything, then why did Fauci need a pardon? Makes you think. Lauren Gunn says it should not be taboo to question the medical establishment. It should be taboo, however, to just do things blindly without considering the risk and reward. Exactly. And that was really all Jenny's conversation was. That's really all it was. Yeah. And Traveler wants to be heard and say that she remembers it differently, and that's totally fine. Laura said that was a scary time. Yeah, it really was a scary time. Listen, I'm not telling you what to do with your life, right? But here's what I find. speaking of not telling you what to do with your life, so in this Candace Owens versus House Inhabit feud that has ensued, and now we have this RFK cheating scandal and blackmail scandal, and I don't know if the videos are coming out or not coming out. At this point, I don't think um the it's so funny. Traveler landed. She's saying measles outbreak in a town near you. Isn't it funny that she came into this live chat and she was like, Jenny McCarthy was scaring people. Jenny McCarthy was doing PR tactics to scare people. And yet she's literally in here in the live chat right now being like, outbreak coming near you. Like, it's just, I don't know. It feels a little like projection, my love. There are pros and cons to everything, right? Do your own research, make sure you're informed. But so what one piece that has come out from this Candace versus House Inhabit drama is Candace is now outed that Jessica Reed Krause did not participate in this most recent election. And I was a little torn about it, right? I kind of went back and forth because I was like pissed off that Jessica Reed Krause, who's somebody that I've followed for a while, somebody that I have a deep respect for with the platform that she's built, and she's always come across as very objective. I've kind of gotten clout chasey vibes from her recently, which is disappointing because I know people are always like, you only call out one side and you're never willing to call out the other side. I'll call it out. Jessica Reed Krause, the more I see her content, especially with her, and she's like, I'm touring at the White House, and Candace Owens was blocked from the White House. Like, it feels a little smug. And that's not what I want from my independent journalists that are supposed to be objective. I get it when you're enthralled in the middle of a feud and a scandal, then like, I get it. You're going to get defensive and you're going to allow your ego to take control. But I don't know. I was kind of disappointed that I feel like her intention now is to get as much access as she can within the White House, which I think is really powerful as somebody that's independent and, leans more into new media versus traditional media. I think it's important that more of those voices come forward, but there's also responsibility with that too, right? And so Candace Owens revealed that Jessica Reed Krause did not vote, which to me was kind of news. And I was like, oh, I feel like that hasn't been disclosed. And so Jessica Reed Krause came out and she's like, well, actually, I did, it's not a secret that I didn't vote. But I was like, but wait a minute. But like, you did kind of influence a lot of people to support Kennedy because you were on the campaign trail with RFK Jr. And then not only that, but then she went really hard to be Team Trump. And I'm just like, and you didn't even vote? And her excuse is like, well, I was on the campaign trail and I wasn't home in California. And I was like, you could have mailed in your ballot. Like, there were ways you could have voted that, like, you can't be. Is that wrong I guess for her argument is that she's an objective voice. She's a independent journalist and she doesn't want to sway people to vote one way or the other. And I've heard that argument that like her job isn't to encourage people to vote. She's just giving us the information. But I do kind of feel like it's important to disclose that you didn't vote. No? Oh yeah, and Laura says, and House Inhabit Jessica Reed Krause is a registered Democrat. Yeah, it's kind of strange. And then you have this Olivia Newsy piece, right? The woman that was rumored to be having the affair with Kennedy. Now it seems that the affair was seemingly real, and it seems like Olivia has these videos, or there are these videos that were recorded of Kennedy cheating on his wife Cheryl Hines. The videos appear to be real. They just haven't materialized because nobody wants to touch them legally again because of the two-party consent state rule. It appears Kennedy was not aware that these videos were being filmed at all. So the Olivia Newsy piece thing, though, is kind of weird because if you look into Olivia, you can trace her back to, do you remember Anthony Weiner? He was a politician. He was what was he? Rep in New York, big member of the Democratic Party. He had his own scandal. Remember when his dick pics leaked online because he was sending naughty pictures of himself? Well, apparently she was connected to that leak as well. So now Candace seems to kind of be alluding to Jessica being like, or not Jessica, Olivia Newsy being some sort of double agent that like works to do stuff like this. Like she targets somebody, infiltrates that kind of world, and then like, exposes them for cheating or whatever. And so it seems to be that this is partially the theory that Olivia Newsy inserted herself into Kennedy's life to presumably seduce him, and then what, suddenly she just accidentally, what is this, like Faith Stowers and Jax, like she just accidentally recorded this, like that's kind of crazy. So I don't know, it is weird. And then you see at the time when that story was originally breaking, Olivia Newsy and House Inhabit were not friends. Like House Inhabit was kind of in defense of Kennedy against this woman that, you know, Kennedy was denying having an affair with. And then now we find out, as Candace Owens has revealed, that Jessica Reed Krause seems to be friendly or has become good friends with Olivia Newsy, which is also kind of crazy because it's like you were on the Kennedy campaign trail. You didn't seem to like this Olivia Newsy when you didn't believe her story about sleeping with Kennedy, and then suddenly you become friends with this woman and you guys are writing newsletters together, and she was somewhat involved in the hit piece against Candace that was supposed to happen but didn't happen. And Candace revealed text messages that show that the reason it didn't happen because they had internally decided that, like, if they were going to take a shot at Candace, it needed to be a clean shot, not some not a messy shot or something. I don't know. Not a, like, it had to be like, what did Bethany say with Lisa Vanderpump? If you're gonna go after the B, you better not miss. And it's true. There are some people that if you're gonna take a shot at them, you better make sure you have it there to bury them. Otherwise, they're gonna fight back and they're gonna come back with the bazookas. So it's weird. The Olivia Newsy piece, her connections to Anthony Weiner, and now she has the same scandal happening again with RFK Jr. Like I said, Ian Carroll and Candace Owens have their own theories as to where that originated from. It's just very strange. But Jessica Reed Krause doesn't look good in any of this. And you see now she's friends with Olivia Newsy and getting super close access to the White House. Like, it just makes you question so many of these things. And I'm just like, what is going on? Like, this thing just blew up and went completely nuclear. And like, I don't even know what to believe anymore. I'm like, do I believe Candace, who thinks that Brigitte Macron is a woman? Like, what? Or like, how did I lose faith in Jessica Reed Krause? And like, and I'm disappointed in her for very clearly influencing the election, but like not really disclosing that she wasn't participating in it this year at all. Like, it would be different if she were, I think, covering the Kamala campaign and the Kennedy campaign and the Trump campaign, and she kind of, was truly objective in a lot of this stuff. But it was very clear she was on one side, or at least leaning towards one side. And then now we find, like, I don't know, it's just kind of disappointing for me in Jessica. But yeah, I don't know. How do you guys feel? And then we will move over to Prince Harry. Liza says Candace Owens does not lie. Well, she may not lie, but she can get it wrong sometimes, right? Or like she may lean into speculation without confirmation. Like, Candace is still human, but she at least owns it. Alice says all the conspiracies are going to go right back to the house where they were feeding the pigs to the humans. Say what? Krista says, why does Candace need to go on? Oh, you guys are fighting in the live chat. I would not eat the donuts full of Blake Lively's hair. Yeah, I mean, I agree. Maybe, just at least tie the hair back, because it seems like there were a lot of like split ends that they would be easy to break off into the donuts. That at least kind of tie it back, right? At least. When Monica Lewinsky influences new generation. She has a podcast now. I was like, who's like, yeah, let me listen to a podcast from Monica Lewinsky. Speaking of Monica Lewinsky, do you guys remember Rachel Raquel Leviss from Scandival, when the big Vanderpump Rules cheating scandal happened? And we had Tom Sandoval and Ariana Madix, and Rachel was at the center of it. And Rachel was friends with Ariana, who was dating Tom Sandoval for like 9 years. It was like nearly a decade. And then he was having an affair with Rachel. And that was drama, right? Big scandal. Speaking of cheating. Well, it's now been 2 years since that scandal broke. Crazy how all the Vanderpump people have kind of gone a little extinct since then. Like, nobody's really talking about them or caring about them anymore. But Rachel Raquel Leviss, she's now a sound bath healer. I mean, that's a plot twist I don't think anybody saw coming. She now goes by Rachel L. Here, I'll pull up her Instagram for you so that we can catch up with Rachel L. You go, Rachel. So here's Rachel L. And she now does sound bath healing. And she's like, hey guys, she went from, stealing your man to aligning your chakras. Sold out. Spring is almost here. Join me next Thursday for a spring equinox sound bath to celebrate the season of growth and renewal. Dun, dun, dun. She just did that this week at the yoga studio. And so she's doing all the things, right? She's like, look at me. I'm doing sound baths and I'm doing noises. And now I'm healing people with my sounds and not my moans. So, Rachel's out there living her best life. That was just a little update on Rachel Raquel Leviss. Didn't Rocky want to be an occupational therapist for kids? Yes, she did. Rocky Bang Bang wanted to be an occupational therapist. But listen, don't be fooled by the rocks that she's got. Rocky from the block is still suing Tom Sandoval and Ariana Madix. And so that trial is set for this November. That's the invasion of privacy and revenge porn trial. She's suing Tom and Ariana because Ariana, that's how the scandal broke, is Ariana happened to check Tom's phone. She said it was women's instinct. She checked Tom's phone and found Raquel's coochie video on the phone because I guess Tom and Rachel were FaceTiming and Tom screen grabbed it and it was saved on his phone. And then Ariana went and she found the video and then she sent it to Rachel being like, you're dead to me. I caught you. Here's your coochie on my man's phone. And then Rachel's like, hold on, because you transferred it from one device to the other. That's invasion of privacy and revenge porn. And then Tom Sandoval was just, she was like, you recorded it without my consent. That's invasion of privacy. And she accused him of being a peeping Tom. So we're going to have to see how this all plays out this November. Dun, dun, dun. Look at Roberto says, Zack, have you tried not being gay? Call on Jesus Christ and repent. Thank you, Roberto. I am now saved because of you. Rocky is and never will be balanced. I mean, we'll have to see. Man stealing to energy stealing. Yeah, we'll have to wait and see what happens. I don't know what's going to happen with Rachel. She also wanted to be the champion for all the mistresses everywhere. I remember that. Oh, she can call up Olivia Newsy. That's wild. Will you go to her sound bath class, Zach? No, Laura, I don't think I'll be going to her sound bath at all. But listen, good for her. She seems happy. I just think maybe drop the lawsuit against Ariana, right? I think at this point, fine, if you want to pursue it against Tom, he's the one that recorded this without you knowing. Got it. Cool. Check. I just I'm going to be a defender of women here and say maybe let's not sue Ariana. We have no proof. I guess that's her thing is she's like, I know Ariana showed other people this video. And Ariana's like, I did not show other people this video. Tom deleted it off my phone before I could have even shared it if I wanted to. So she claims that the only distribution of the video went from Tom's phone to Ariana's phone to Rachel's phone. So it was just the three of them that ever saw this, or that ever, had eyes on the cooch. I don't know. But I guess we'll have to see it. I just feel like it's a little shitty to befriend someone and then sleep with their boyfriend while lying to their face for 7 months. You're banging him while she went, Ariana was literally out of town for her grandmother's funeral and Rachel was screwing Tom in their bed. And then, so I'm just maybe we just kind of read the room. I don't think anybody saw the coochie video. And if they did see the coochie video, I think at this point we're kind of over the coochie video. And the only reason we're still talking about the coochie video is because you're suing Ariana when you stole her man. I mean, and then people are like, you can't steal a man. That's not how it works. Men walk, da, 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 da. And I just think maybe drop the lawsuit against Ariana. That's all I'm saying. Got it. Okay? Got it. Okay, let's talk about Prince Harry, because Prince Harry is in some drama himself as well. So he was forced out of his charity, which is Sentebale. Sentebale, I think is how you pronounce it. Sentebale. So this was his charity, founded in 2006. And I guess the charity's original mission was to help fight HIV and AIDS, the HIV and AIDS crisis, which I believe is stemmed from his mother, Princess Diana. Okay. Well, He is now stepped down along with his other co-founder, and they've collectively parted ways from the organization. Now there's this new woman, Dr. Sophie Shanduka, and she's slamming Prince Harry and his toxic Sussex brand after he quit his role at the Sentebale charity that he co-founded. Okay. Sentebale. Yeah. So she said the number one risk for this organization was the toxicity of its lead patron's brand. And so she claims that Harry and his partner, his co-founder, they wanted to force a failure and then come to rescue. So they wanted to it's not clear what type of failure they were forcing, but it seems like she's claiming that they wanted to run the charity into the ground so that they can come in and save the charity, right? But the charity, like I said, was dedicated to helping defeat the HIV/AIDS crisis internationally. And so now Dr. Shanduka, she's moved in, and she, I believe, was brought in 2023. Okay. And now she's claiming that the organization should no longer focus on HIV and AIDS. Like that crisis, we need to get with the times. And so her new mission for this organization is to cover climate resilience and wealth inequality. And I was like, what in the Kamala Harris? And so, because remember, she was all about equity and fair. Everybody has the same opportunities. And so I'm like, wait, we're going from fighting the HIV/AIDS crisis in, Africa, and now suddenly we're focused on climate resilience and wealth inequality. And she said that because now we're in a post BLM world, and so the organization needs to evolve. I was like, oh, do we no longer need like HIV and AIDS prevention in third world countries? Like I'm confused. Or like has there been a lot like what like I don't understand what the new mission is supposed to be, but it's also pretty bold that when you have two of the co-founders that started this organization in 2006, you come in, let's see, 2006 to 2016 is 10 years, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. So that's 17 years that this organization has been in operation. Oh, wait, no, we're in 2025. Oh, well, no, she came in 2023. Got it. 17 years that this organization has been in operation, and you come in and now suddenly you're changing the mission of the organization. Like what? What? Huh? I watched it yesterday and it disturbed me. Oh, you guys are talking about adolescence. Yeah, she's saying, and then they claim, Harry and his co-founder, they said what transpired is unthinkable. It's devastating that the relationship between the charity's trustees and the chair of the board broke down beyond repair. Beneath all the victim narrative and fiction that has been syndicated to the press is the story of a woman who so that's what they claim, is that this was that the breakdown was beyond repair. She came in and she's now saying this is her statement as to why they left. She said, beneath all the victim narrative and fiction that has been syndicated to the press is the story of a woman who dared to blow the whistle about issues of poor governance, weak executive management, abuse of power, bullying, harassment, misogyny, misogynoir, and the cover-up that ensued. Misogynoir. That's a new term. Okay. That one I learned this morning. So misogynoir is defined as hatred of, aversion to, or prejudice against Black women. So I believe the term originated from 2008 from a woman named Moya Bailey. Or she's a feminist. I don't know. Maybe Moya could be they, them now. I don't know. She may be non-binary. A lot's changed since 2008. But so I was like, I've never heard of misogynoir before. Misogynoir. I was like, it kind of sounds a little fancy, but like misogynoir. So you're not just a misogynist. Like, am I misogynoir for criticizing Garcelle? So funny how many people are trying to twist themselves into that narrative about like why I'm prejudiced against Garcelle when I've openly defended Anne Marie and Bose. So yeah, I'm like, you know what? I get it. This sucks for Prince Harry and his co-founder because obviously this was their charity and they've been part of this charity since 2006, which is a very long time, had a very important mission. But for somebody new to come in 2023, Zach, you are basing only this interview. Take her interviews as base. She's done she's given two, well, there were at least two interviews that she's done. She's done at least two different interviews that I've seen this morning, and she definitely continues to lodge these missiles at Harry and the other co-founder. And I mean, listen, I just think it's a little brazen when you come into an organization 17 years into foundation, and then you're suddenly trying to change the mission of the organization, and then suddenly the two original co-founders have been shoved out. That's kind of wild to me. I know we don't like Prince Harry or Meghan Markle, and we control her as ever brand that's coming forth, but also I'm just kind of like, "Huh, when did the Metropolitan Police do an investigation into Charles? Is Charles wasn't part of the organization though? This was Harry's charity." Um, Heather says, Zach, I know you have Devo experience too. I work in nonprofit development, and changing an organization's mission is unheard of. Mention the insane tax implications of changing the org. Yeah, well, I mean, similar to like I talked about with Jenny and Generation Rescue, the foundation that we used to run. That was kind of like a decision where it's like the organization at that point had grown and had accomplished its mission of what it had done since 2000, what was it, 2005, 2006, that the organization had evolved and grown at that point, that when it came to changing the mission, and that's kind of where the board came, where they were like, we're trying to figure out what the next mission for the organization is. And that's when the organization or the board said, you know what, I think the organization completed its mission. All of the board is going to split from here and go pursue each of their different endeavors rather than to completely change the mission of the organization. Everybody just decided to collectively pursue their own endeavors, whether it was fighting legislation or, health advocacy or, housing and job opportunities for adults with autism. Like it had evolved from what the organization had started as. So I can see how organizations can evolve, but I mean, for somebody new to come in after the organization's been very established as to what it is, there's a way to evolve it, but to completely pivot to wealth equality was kind of wild to me. But listen, here's my critique of Harry, though. Harry let Meghan Markle, his wife, go on Oprah and accuse the royal family of racism. And when you set those types, it's similar to Justin Baldoni. This is where Justin, he came in and allowed Blake, he wanted to be a feminist and he wanted to give Blake power and he wanted her to feel empowered on the set of It Ends With Us. So he gave her lots of liberties and she abused that, right? With some of the alleged threats that she was making about like not promoting the film or not finishing filming and all that stuff. But he continued to enable his behavior. And we know that because a lot of the producers, we've seen their text messages come out and they were expressing their concerns with the way he was giving her too much power. And they wanted to put their foot down with Blake Lively. But Justin Baldoni set that precedent. I'm a champion for women. I'm a feminist. I'm going to empower Blake. I'm going to make sure that that the film has a female lens, a female gaze. And that came back to bite him in the butt. Now we're seeing this happen with Prince Harry, where, you can't come out and have your wife accuse the royal family of being racist and throw all these, really lean into the movement at the time. And then suddenly when the movement comes back to bite you, because, kind of the way that things were being weaponized in that era, like that's continued to trickle on, It's kind of crazy. I think you're misunderstanding this whole situation with Prince Harry. What did don't blame women. I'm not blaming anyone. I didn't blame any women. I was just saying it's kind of wild. Dr. Sophie has been with them since 2008. Oh, so then was this a new senior position that she stepped up into? Either way, the fact that any sort of organization can have a falling out this big tells me that there's a lot more that was going on behind closed doors. So even if we just look at like, okay, abrupt exit from the organization, and then you have these really strong statements that are now being made by what's her name, Dr. Shenduka, the fact that she's coming so hard at them in these interviews, I think to me, I don't know. I mean, and then we're using terms like misogyny and misogynoir. I don't know. It's just something about it doesn't sit well with me. Zach, I've only started following you from the Baldoni case, but listening to you, I wish I'd followed you over the 2020 BS scandal. I mean, listen, It's easier to take over an organization than to start your own. And on top of it, she claims that she's a hero. The parallels to Blake are eerie. Yeah, they really are. Elizabeth says, "You're missing her point. She put her foot down and said no to his demands, and then he harassed her." Oh, Blake Lively? Oh, come on. You're not seriously coming up into my comments trying to defend Blake Lively right now. She put her foot down and said no to his demands, and then he harassed her. That is, if you seriously believe that, then go crawl back up the coconut tree you fell out of and jump out again. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree? Come on. No. We're not, we're not. We've covered that case too much, too deeply. There was somebody online too that was coming in and talking about. I think it was on Twitter or X. Which one wasn't? They were talking about Blake Lively, and they were just like, "And oh, I didn't even finish sending it." She wrote, "There's a legally signed complaint agreement from December of 2023 of Baldoni agreeing to correct his behavior after multiple meetings. This isn't even an opinion-based situation anymore." And I said, actually, he did not agree to correct his behavior. He agreed to not do the things that she wrote in her list, but they made it clear, Wayfair made it very clear that when they signed this list, per the emails that have now been released, that they don't view things the same way Blake Lively does. They're like, we're not saying that what you're accusing these men of is true. We're not owning up to that. We don't agree with this. You seem to view it very differently. And from now, what we've seen, it seems she's misrepresented and taken things grossly out of context. But so they don't view things the same way Lively does, which was part of their statement. But they did agree to make sure that Blake Lively felt safe because she was threatening to halt production. They also said that a number of things that she listed were standard procedure on set already. So it wasn't like there were new provisions that needed to be added on set. Wayfair was already doing these things, and these protections were already in place. So it wasn't hard for them to be like, okay, yeah, we'll make sure that a closed set means a closed set, even though there's never been an opportunity where a non-closed set was not a non-closed set. And they've released the production schedules, and they were very clear about, debunking some of the allegations that she made. And also, there were not multiple meetings. So far, there was rumored to be more than one, but there was only one that we have confirmed, and that's the January 4th meeting. There was the all hands on deck meeting, which is where this list was first presented. And it wasn't presented as a formal list. It was actually presented verbally, right, with Ryan Reynolds and Blake Lively. And not only that, but let's not dismiss the fact that this list of hers has changed 3 different times. First, it started off as a 17, or as first she claimed it was a 30-point list. Then we found out no, it was actually a 17-point list. And then her most recent amended complaint states that it's a 20-point list. So it's like, well, how many points were there? Which points were presented at the January 4th meeting? Which points did Justin Baldoni and Jamie Heath and Wayfair agree to? And what was the statement that they actually agreed to? So, I don't know. CC says, I have to go take a blood pressure pill. Everybody play nice. Have a good week. Don't get too fired up, guys. Taryn says, you're not relatable, Blake. You're not relatable. Sabrina Carpenter and Jojo Siwa, not relatable. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I don't think anybody believes Blake Lively is relatable. Bren W says, I know this is unpopular here, but if you remember, Lisa once said, how you get them is how you lose them. I won't apologize for supporting or believing Ariana. Yeah, I mean, I'm with you. I supported Ariana through Scandival. I didn't like her behavior after the fact, but I also agree that, like, how you get them is how you lose them. Tom Sandoval had a history of cheating, and you can't really expect an old dog to learn new tricks, right? Look at Jax Taylor. So, yeah. Zack left to listen, but this one is about Dr. Shanduka. You need to dive deeper. She put her feet down against the demands of Harry to defend Meghan. Oh, listen, I'm just going based off of what the reports were over the weekend. I don't know much about his charity. I haven't dove deep into the charity. I just know he stepped down last week. Since then, there were a number of strong statements that were made by Dr. Shanduka, and it seems a little wild that you come in and anybody that uses terms like misogynoir, I'm just highly skeptical of. I'm not saying that Harry's perfect in any of this by any means. I'm pretty sure there's a lot that's, crazy there. But yeah, Russ Davis says 90.6 thousand subscribers. So close. Yes, guys, we're almost at 91,000. And then we're going to hit 100,000. We're getting there so fast. So please subscribe if you're not subscribed yet. Always spicy topics to cover. Miss Shanduka asked for a $300,000 salary for her unpaid position and prompted the trustees to ask her to step down. She refused, and then she made all the allegations. Yeah, see, it seems like people have both or have two sides of this story. So I don't know. My objective analysis based off of the headlines that came out this week about him stepping down and her stepping up, and the statements that she's made against them and the statements that they've made against her. I don't know. Feels a little cray. It's Mercury retrograde until April 8th. Hang on, everyone. Miscommunications. Yeah. Kind of sounds like that's what a lot of this is. But like I said, I have absolutely not dove deep into their charity. But again, misogynoir, now we're making up new terms. It's crazy. Lizzie says, hit the like button now, everyone, and share Zach's videos. Awesome. Thank you. Appreciate you, Lizzie. Guys, yes, hit the like button. Oh, let's do a quick round of Apple Podcast shout outs. So if you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, then definitely leave an Apple Podcast review. I will dive deeper into the charity though. I'll dig into it a bit more and we'll see what else we find. Like I said, I'm not presuming that Harry is kosher in all of this. I just think it's kind of funny that, they definitely played that card with Oprah when they accused the royal family of being racist. And then now it's come back to bite Harry in the butt because now he's being pushed out and being accused of misogynoir. Okay, let's see. Let's give a shout out to Jackie. # Jackie said, Zach is great. Says what he means and means what he says. That's rare nowadays. Keep killing it. Thank you. Thank you. Shelly1 says, new subscribed fan, found Zach on Juicy Scoop, checked out his pod, and immediately subscribed. Loving all the episodes. The info is clear and researched well. Yay. Heather M35 says, 5 stars. I'm new to your podcast and love listening to you. Found you via Daily Dose of Donna and Dave Neal. Yay. I appreciate that. That I do. Brina 253 says, bummer, more Blake and Justin. She only gave me 2 out of 5 stars. And she says, love Zach, miss the old pod. This used to be my can't miss podcast, but every episode is the Blake and Baldoni case. Your topics just bumped. It's all about Blake the last couple of months, hoping you get back to spilling Bravo and celeb tea, or at least just changing up the topics. I feel like we change up the topics every day. The lead just always happens to be something related to Blake and Baldoni because there's always something new that's breaking with Blake and Baldoni. But just because the title says Blake Lively doesn't mean the entire episode is about Blake Lively. We cover a variety of topics every day, Brina. Hope you come back soon, girl. And then Law Wannabe says, you're losing your way. Well, and then says that the 321 show, the town hall with Dave and Donna, was just gross. I thought it was wildly entertaining. Gwen Mendez says, Harry tried to make Dr. Sophie release a statement defending Meghan. Oh, okay, this is juicy, Gwen. Okay, tried to make Dr. Sophie release a statement defending Meghan. I don't agree with Dr. Sophie's woke agenda, but I don't agree with Baldoni's either. I think Harry is in the wrong in this situation. Oh, so Meghan Markle's at the center of this departure. That's juicy. Okay, Gwen, I'm going to dig into that and we'll dive into this even further. Thank you for the super chat. But that's interesting. Interesting. So Meghan Markle, how is she always at the center of everything that he does? I believe saying not to defend Meghan was the beginning. I think there's more. Got it. Danielle says, Zach, how long to receive our t-shirts? It's been over a week for me. Not complaining. It shouldn't have been over a week. The t-shirts just launched on last Monday. So if they launched on the 24th, then it's only the 31st. It's only been exactly a week. Your t-shirt, I mean, people have been getting their t-shirts. So Lee says, love my Daddy Sleuth time. Oh, I thought you had your Daddy Sleuth shirt. They should be coming soon, guys. Like I would expect. They were printed on demand. That's kind of how we had to do it with the short turnaround time frame. But my understanding is, as of Tuesday, orders started to get shipped out. They started getting printed and shipped out. So you should be getting them soon if you haven't yet. And when you do, definitely send me photos for sure. My money don't jiggle jiggle. It folds. I like to see you wiggle wiggle for sure. Newly says, I like the way you deal with your dissenters. Classy. I try. Helena says, I just subscribed to your channel. Yay. Thank you, Helena. Elizabeth says, yes, that is what I was trying to tell you about Harry. I'm Team Justin, but thank you for responding. Thank you for enlightening it. Liza says they wanted her to defend Meghan after she treated the Sentebale lady horrible during that Polo TV show. Oh. Meghan Markle just makes enemies everywhere she goes, doesn't she? Shannon says, you rock. I love your channel. I don't like Dave Neal, so I couldn't finish the show you had with him, but you and Donna rock. I personally love the Baldoni plantation princess Khaleesi stuff. It's interesting. It's a story, you know? It's a good, juicy story. It's Miss Juice. What happened with the Whole Foods lady? Oh, that crazy lady. Nothing. I went to another line. People pull her name for drama clout. That's all. Okay, thank you, Dragonfly. More need to hit the like button. Yes, guys, hit the like button on your way out. Give me a follow, Just Plain Zack. Follow the podcast at No Filter with Zack. I'll be back tomorrow, and let me know who you want to see on a Friday town hall. Let me know who do you feel like is right up to come on No Filter for an unfiltered town hall. Can't stand Dave Neal. I like Dave Neal. I mean, I'm not like super close with him. I don't know him super well. Clearly, you know, we have very different political viewpoints on a lot of things. But I mean, as a person, I don't have anything against him personally. All right, guys, I love you. I appreciate you. I will talk to you later. Ciao for now. See you tomorrow. Candace should be on your town hall. I would love that. Candace and Jessica Reed Krause together. Could you imagine? Oof. All right. Hit the like button, guys. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Give me a follow. Just Plain Zack. Follow the podcast No Filter with Zack and catch new episodes of No Filter with Zack Peter streaming Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday mornings. Get your merch at nofiltermerch.com. Like I said, 50% of all merch sales will be donated to the No More Foundation if you make a purchase between now and April 11th. Time is running out. Stock up before it is too late. All right, guys. Ciao for now. Love you. Mean it. Bye.